hear me?
Ray in Maryland. Go ahead, buddy. What's going on, Ray?
Hey, what's happening, Eddie? How are you, man?
Did you get your stickers?
I didn't know if you wanted me to bring that up on the air, but man, I gotta thank you, dude. To me, you went above and beyond, and you made my Saturday. I got them Saturday. Eddie.
All right. Well, I wanted to send you a few extras just so you could throw them around and give them to whoever you want. I had these stickers made, these Trunk Nation stickers made, and I'm sending them out for free. You can see the address on my website and or on my social media. And I got a bunch of envelopes in, and I mailed them out. I wanted to get it out to you because I'm leaving. My P.O. box is in New Jersey. I'm going to go to Vegas for a while. So if you send in for them, I'm not going to be able to mail them for a while, but I wanted to get the last batch out. So I'm glad they got to you.
Yeah, man, they kind of made my Saturday. Eddie sent me a generous bunch of these bumper stickers, and you know I'll get the word out in the right places. And then you even included a little handwritten personal note thanking me for my support, dude. And it really did kind of make my day. So thank you very much, Eddie.
You're welcome, man. No problem.
And I wanted to talk a little. I haven't weighed in at all on the Back to the Beginning stream concert. I did watch the entire thing. I started at 10 a.m., finished at 8. I planned my day around it so I didn't have to do anything during. And I thought it was great. It sounded great, looked great, had it on my big TV with my good audio system, and no issues with the stream at all. And I wanted to point out a couple of bands who have been touched on but not really talked about a lot. And the first one would be Hailstorm. In fact, Lizzie was pretty much the only woman representation there in this. You know, it was pretty much all men. I think Gojira had one gal come out and sing part of a song, but Hailstorm killed it. Their version of Perry Mason was awesome, and then Lizzie came back out and killed Ultimate Sin when Jake and the rest of that supergroup came out. And I just thought she should really get a shout out because, you know, that was the female representation of the day. And
that's a good point. Yeah, Ray, that's a good point. There were very, very few women on that bill at all, and Lizzie was. And I also thought her song choice of doing Perry Mason was cool because there was really, you know, much of the Ozzy stuff was focused on the first 3-4 records. There wasn't really much played beyond that. So I thought that was, Mom, I'm Coming Home, what he did. But I thought that I love Perry Mason. I think that's a great song from Osmosis. So I'm glad that sort of middle period was represented a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a good album, too. In fact, Thunder Underground is one of the heaviest and coolest songs, I think, on any Ozzy album. It's amazing. And another band I wanted to touch on, I know you're not a big Tool fan, but I am a Tool fan. And I thought the 3 songs they played, they came out with such precision and killed it. They played 2 songs off of Anima, and in the middle they sandwiched Hand of Doom by Sabbath, and I thought they did an amazing job of it. And, you know, Tool's usually like a band that plays in the dark, and you could see everything, and Maynard was out there, and I thought they sounded great. And I just thought the whole thing went off amazingly, man. I watched the whole thing, didn't miss a note, drum beat or chord, man. It was great. And real quick before you let me go, just a real quick suggestion. You remember back in February I brought up that newer music spotlight. Let's maybe you could do that again sometime in the near future. It should be done maybe a couple times a year, I would think, because it has been since February, and I think it went off really well, and it was a cool way to, you know, check out these newer bands, you know, because I know you like to get the word out for them too, man. And thanks, Eddie. I hope you feel better, brother.
Thank you, Ray. Yeah, well, we just spent a lot of time talking about The Warning. We had Mariah from Plush on last week, so we're always diving in on some of the newer stuff along the way as well. A couple things on Ray's call. The Tool performance, yeah, I think the problem with Back to the Beginning, and it was a good problem to have, is there was just, you know, it's an embarrassment of riches, if you will. There were so many, it was such a long event. There were so many performances. There were so many bands that you kind of like hone in on certain things and then you kind of almost overlook some other stuff. And to Ray's point, I think he's right. I mean, I think Lizzie was phenomenal, as always, as was Hailstorm. And I think Tool was as well. And Ray said, I know you're not a huge Tool guy. And I admit, no, I would probably say that's accurate. I don't dislike the band at all, by the way. There are things they do that I do like a lot. I tend to like their more compact 4 or 5 minute songs versus, there's Prison Sex and some of the old Sober, some of the older stuff like that, a bit more than the 15-minute prog workouts. But still, I totally respect the band, and I do like the band, and I do think I've seen them live, and I do think that they were great at that. And I also do think that it was interesting that they even participated, given that they are a band that does a lot in very controlled environments, meaning, the lighting, Maynard is kind of always in the back and not lit and all that. And here they are in the middle of the day out there playing. You just don't see them like that all that often. So the two bands I was surprised did that event were them and Guns N' Roses for the same reason. Not that Guns N' Roses has that mystique about them, but Guns N' Roses, they have a very controlled backstage, and they've got a lot of people in the band, and there's a lot of control there, around them. So for them to just be out there with 50 other bands, that was also pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Ray and the sentiment on this thing, and we're still talking about it as I knew we would a couple weeks after the fact. That as I said at the time we first reviewed it, you can certainly get nitpicky if you want about Back to the Beginning. I don't know what you want to nitpick. If you want to nitpick, people that weren't there that should have been, in my view, should have been people like Bob Daisley, Brad Gillis, Joe Holmes, Tommy Aldridge. What that was about, I don't know. But they should have been acknowledged. I think that, Lizzie Hale on this show said she wanted to do Close My Eyes Forever. They didn't allow it. They didn't want that song performed. Would have been cool if Lita was there to do that song. I think, again, just if you want to get nitpicky, there could have been some 80s hard rock representation. People like Lita, people like Motley Crue or a member of Motley Crue, just stuff that represents more of that 80s era. That 80s hard rock era. But again, that's being nitpicky. I mean, I think the thing went off great. It was a great day for a great cause, for an iconic band, raised great money. It was a great day for metal. I mean, it's hard to, I thought this, as Ray said, the stream was, I was worried about the stream because the company that produced that, to my knowledge, they don't normally do live streams. And I talked about it going in. I'm like, well, they don't have it's not like it's on a Hulu or something where you can just click and watch. You got to cast it to your TV, but that all seemed to work. Some people complain the gaps between songs were a little long or sets, but again, I think it's being nitpicky when you consider what the whole thing was. Well, I know Ray just mentioned the new band thing.
Yeah, you know what? And we did that back in like January or so, I think it was. We did it early in the year. We're definitely due to do that again because we wanted to make that a more regular part of the show anyway. So, you know what? Let's do it. Let's roll with it.
Well, hold on. The other variation on that, which is also same ballpark, is the somebody pointed out to me, we didn't do this year, and we do this, I've done it the last few years. We're now past the halfway point of this year. We didn't do your favorite new band or music so far of the year. So of like 2025. So do we go with your favorite new music of the year so far? Or do we do with, just overall?
Ooh. I mean, I got to think about what new music do we have this year that would fall into that list.
See, that's the thing. I don't feel like there's been a ton. Like, I don't feel like there's been...
that's kind of where I'm at with that too. Like, there's nothing jumping out at me that like, oh, these couple of albums are gonna, are just gonna rock that list.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of light. So yeah, let's do new. Yeah, and because the other problem with the new music so far this year, and we've been talking about this a lot, is more and more artists are doing singles and not doing albums. So it's like, what are you going to, I mean, you can call out singles, I guess, but that's kind of like one song, two songs, like, oh, Mammoth, but it's one song or two songs now or whatever. It's not a lot of full records. Unfortunately, that's like less and less. So probably going the band route's the better way, but we got to put a cap on it so that it's new. What did we do last time? Was it in the last 5 years, 10 years? What was the cap?
I think we said
15?
10 years. I think we said 10 years. So bands that formed after 2015 or later.
So at first album released 2015 forward.
Yeah, that's what we did last time. So let's stick with those guidelines.
All right. So Wednesday, because tomorrow's mailbag, Wednesday, to give you a couple days to think about it. Wednesday, when we're back live after mailbag tomorrow, your favorite new bands of the last 10 years. The first record had to come out in the last 10 years. Just so it still stays relatively new. And call them in. You know, one or two, whatever. It doesn't have to be a cap on it. One or two you want to shout out. Think about that as we'll spotlight new music once again on Wednesday's show, as usual, starting live at 3 o'clock Eastern. There you go.